everybody. Welcome to the Black-Liberation.Tech podcast. I am your host, Dr. Renee Jordan, and I am here to talk to you about getting organized. One of my many nieces went to Morgan State University, and while she was attending Morgan State, as is my practice with my nieces, I send them text messages to keep up with them and to check in on them and see how they're doing. And so one of the things that I talked about with my niece was getting organized. Not only is it important to get organized, it's important to stay organized. And so something simple as making a list can make all the difference in the world. So here are a few steps that you can take. Make a comprehensive list. So if you take your course syllabi, you can map out your whole semester and include due dates for not only assignments and projects and tests, but also based upon how your other course syllabi line up, you can decide on how much time you need to spend. So you can start with a list and then go from a list to your calendar, and from your calendar, go to a schedule that allows you to block out time based upon what you know about yourself as it relates to the different classes that you take. For example, if you know that your chemistry work is going to take you more time than your art history work, then you need to block out more time to get your chemistry work done than you would your art history. And it's not to say that one class is more important than the other. It's just recognizing what you know about yourself and what it will take to set yourself up to be successful. Because at the end of the day, a grade in one class has as much weight as another. Now, assuming all things are the same. Now, with chemistry, it might be worth 4 credits, whereas your art history class is worth 3, but the goal is to do the best that you can. In addition to mapping out your assignments, your tests, your projects, your essays, you want to make sure that you include in your breakdown the course name, the assignments, the chapters that you have to read, the due dates, and the weight of the grade. For example, lab assignments might be worth 40% of your grade, while 60% of your grade is composed of other things such as classwork, homework, tests, quizzes, and presentations. The other thing about making a list, when you actually accomplish things and they are done, check them off and take time to recognize that you did something well. Now, making a list is not only useful for schoolwork, it's also useful when we're talking about full-time work. Making a list will allow you to see visually what it is that you need to do in order to accomplish your task. If you have long-term projects, map out what parts of that project you want to accomplish as time progresses. For example, if you know that you have an annual report that you have to write, perhaps a good idea would be to set yourself up for success by writing quarterly reports. That way, by the 4th quarter, you can mash everything together and you don't have to start from scratch. When you check things off your list, you are keeping track of your accomplishments and you should celebrate those. Small accomplishments end up adding up to big wins, so don't take them lightly. You can treat yourself by taking a break, enjoying your favorite podcast, going to the movies, taking yourself out to dinner, hanging out with your friends, or for those of us who still play games, breaking out your Switch and spending time on Mario Kart. Other ways you can celebrate include doing your hair, getting your hair done. So take time to do that and recognize what you've done for yourself. If you like to dance, go dancing. If you like to sing, do that. Enjoy your favorite activities. You should definitely recognize and reward yourself for accomplishing your task and the things on your list. If you don't celebrate, who else will celebrate you? Now, after talking to my niece via text about making a list, I had to turn around and make a list for myself. Now, at the time, I was in a doctoral research seminar course, and we needed to do a literature review. So instead of doing a generic literature review on instructional technology, let's say how it's evolved over time, I thought about what it was that I wanted to do my research on. And so I spoke with my advisor and talked to him about doing a literature review on culture-specific design. I particularly wanted to take a look at the work of Patricia A. Young, who developed the culture-based model. And I wanted to see who used her work in order to create culture-specific designs, as well as culture-neutral designs. This was perfect because I needed to do an assignment and I also needed to learn more about what I wanted to research. And so once again, taking your coursework as an opportunity to dig deeper into your personal research interests, specifically those who are doing thesis and dissertations, is a great way to not only get your coursework done, but also explore what it is that you're interested in. Now, with this literature review, not only was it going to help me with my personal research interests and to help me move along my PhD journey, as well as get my classwork done, it was also going to help prepare me for my comprehensive exam. So the comprehensive exam is your opportunity to demonstrate to your committee members what it is that you've learned over the course of your time in the doctoral program. Now, the key to a comprehensive exam is that you want to show what you have learned. So it's not so much about answering the questions based on what a correct answer would be, but taking it as an opportunity to demonstrate the possible answers based upon what you have learned. When I encourage my mentees as it relates to comprehensive exams, I tell them all the learning has already taken place. So it's not a matter of, oh, am I going to get this right or am I going to get this wrong? The question is, how will I answer the question to show them that I know what I'm talking about? And I know how things connect together as it relates to my research interests and the issues that I want to address by my dissertation. For those who are interested in doing transformative work, it's important to look beyond mainstream academic texts, if you will. So it's not always the most cited person that you want to go to in your discipline. For example, if I'm interested about a population that has been marginalized, then I need to take a look at literature that's not going to further push them to the margins. We already know that that's where traditional academia has them. I need to bring them to the center of my work, and instead of placing them on the outskirts. So for those of you who are exploring populations or communities that are marginalized, a good place to start would be academics and experts who work within those communities and have asset-based narratives within their literature as it relates to these communities. Meaning they're not telling the same old sad story, but they're looking at what these communities have to bring, meaning they're looking at the positives, the upside of these communities, how their culture and what it is that they do accomplish and do well add to academia. So that's one place that I would encourage you to go. Go to those who speak well of the communities. There's more that you can do in order to get organized. Please note, all things work together. Keep your eyes and ears out for what you can use from this podcast in order to help you wherever life finds you. Once again, make sure that you make a comprehensive list that covers everything that you need to accomplish within a semester or a quarter or a set period of time so that you're setting yourself up for success. Make sure that when you're doing your coursework assignments that you are pulling in your actual research interests and helping yourself out by not only accomplishing your assignment, but also working towards your own personal goal of graduating and being knowledgeable about the things that you are interested in. Make sure that you celebrate when you check things off of your list. No accomplishment is too small. Do things that you enjoy to help what can seem tedious more fun. It's good to get something done when you know that you are going to have your own reward of your choice at the end of the day. Now, You won't know this, but I know this is my second take at this podcast episode. And that is because it's nothing like talking something up, if you will. So, yesterday I did a preliminary recording for this podcast. And then today, when I got up, I found the need to get myself organized, specifically as it related to applying to a program for my small business. In order to get help, I have to ask people to work with me. Now, I knew that there were some things that I needed to do. And so I read the information following the podcast and I said to myself, oh my goodness, there's so much to do. But just like the previous take, as far as getting myself organized, I had to digest what I said and apply it to this particular scenario in terms of getting help with applying to a program. And so I want to share these steps with you because they are applicable if you're applying to anything. So whether you are applying to a job, whether you're applying to a program of study, whether it is for undergraduate or graduate, doctoral, postdoc, etc. All of those things. Whenever you're applying for something, you want to make sure that you get yourself organized by making yourself a list and including in that list deadlines that help others get you ready to submit your application. And the reason I say you want to create deadlines for others is because you never want someone else's deadline to be the same as yours. This goes for completing quarterly reports as well as annual performance reports. Give yourself at least 2 weeks to review what they send to you before you actually need to submit it to the official entity. So whether that is the place where you want to work or the program that you want to participate in, you want to make sure you're not pushed up against the deadline that you have no control over in order to submit your materials. So if you need reference letters, letters of recommendation, if you need letters of support, if you need letters of agreement saying that someone will work with you, that they're willing to collaborate with you, these are things that you want to provide people dates with when you send your request. And that way, that will give them an idea of how to organize themselves. So they can work backwards and say, okay, well, I know this person would like to have this by X date in order to submit their application for X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to figure out what I need to do in terms of my schedule to help this person out to the best of my ability. Now, if you want to further assist people, sometimes it's easier for you to explain to them how they engaged with you in previous experiences. So whether it's work or projects or program experiences, then it is for them to remember how they engaged with you compared to all the multiple people that they've interacted with in that same setting. For example, if you want a letter of recommendation from your advisor, well, I'm not saying that you're not special, but your advisor has far more students than you have an advisor. So let's say your advisor has 25 students. You are one of 25, but you have one advisor. So they're just one of one. If you can draft a letter for your advisor that says, hey, this is how I worked with you as a graduate research assistant. This is how I worked with you as an intern. This is how I performed in your class on these authentic projects. So projects where you had to demonstrate your skills based upon topics and subjects and items that you had to select yourself. So let's say there's an end of course project or a midterm or a presentation that you had to give. I'll use my policy analysis class for my master's program as an example. We were allowed to pull data from any source that we wanted in order to analyze policy. And so I decided to take a look at the 3-year technology plans for a specific county because I had worked in that county before. And as a result, I was able to create a policy analysis that was based upon my own research interests, and I used data that I selected. That project would be a good one for me to talk about in my letter of recommendation draft that I'm going to send to my professor for that class to say, hey, remember, this is how I did on the project. And if they had feedback as far as your strengths, when they returned that assignment to you, it would be great for you to include that in the draft. Make sure you talk about yourself as an individual when you create that draft so that it's a recommendation draft that is unique and specific to you. How do they work with you and connect with you and see you as an individual, as well as the strengths that you bring to any assignment, project, program, presentation, and the like? So, in addition to organizing yourself for class by using your course syllabus and doing literature reviews based upon your research interests in your classes that ask you to do a literature review so that you move further along in your thesis and dissertation work, make sure that when you are collecting materials for applications, that you're also organizing yourself and setting yourself up for success by giving your referrals, recommendations, letters of support, letters of agreement, any letters and materials that you need to provide for your application, giving those people plenty of time to create, draft, and submit those letters to you or to the specific platform so that you have plenty of time to not only submit your materials before the deadline, but review the materials and see if you need to reach out to more people. Perhaps you have stronger connections, but you can't say exactly when they'll be able to get back to you. So this is an extra point. You might want to send out more requests for referrals and references and letters of support than you actually need so that when they come back in, you can say, hey, I actually like these 3 letter supports over the 4th one that came in. Or you can keep the additional ones as additional supporting information in case you are asked for more after you submit your application. So please feel free to like, subscribe, and share, comment, and ask questions, as well as leave your tips where those things can go. Thank you again for listening to the Black-Liberation.Tech podcast, and I hope you have a great day. I'm your host, Dr. Renee Jordan. Take care. Bye-bye.